Welcome to Leaders and Learners. My name is Tanya McKenzie, and you can find me at the intersection of public relations and leadership. Join us as we talk to organizational leaders, elected officials, experts, authors, artists, and personalities, sharing their stories, talking about how they got to where they are and how they continue to learn and lead the way. So without further ado, let's get into it. Greetings, good people. Welcome to another edition of Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. And today, I have a lesson for you that you just very well might need. We've been in a little awkward place. My new hashtag for the last couple of weeks has been strange behavior. I think people are forgetting how to rise above like negative dispositions, and they find themselves in a negative headspace. Many people are staying in this headspace, having a hard time sleeping because they're having anxiety, not really knowing how to move past mental and emotional struggles to get to that next phase. Somebody said to me, it was my girl, Erica Bryant. She said one day I was talking to her about being upset, being mad about something. And she was like, well, that's your choice. Like you're choosing to be mad. You're making a solid choice on how to react to something that has taken place in life. And I was like, well, if you put it that way, first I was a little insulted because it only made sense to be in my feelings at that moment. But when you look at how we respond to things, we have to take responsibility for how we move in those emotions, or even which emotions we choose to show. So today I got someone that's going to talk to you about hurdling those mental, emotional obstacles and learn how to really, no matter what comes in the way, no matter what steps in your path, how to win. So let's go ahead and get right into Mr. Harper. And if you haven't looked him up yet, I want you to make sure you do that when we're done here. So let's go ahead and bring him on, Mr. Shawn Harper. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. You know what? It is really hard to just unpack everything that you just said. I mean, you said actually volumes when you're talking about what people are going through, what people are dealing with right now. One of my taglines that I just love to use is that adversity can break you, but it also can make you a record breaker. And the difference is perspective. Thank you for having me on this show. Thank you for allowing me to speak to world changers, up and comers, and soon winners. I absolutely love it. Let's go. Let's win.
Let's win. As a matter of fact, you have a story about winning, and I want you to share it with the people.
Right. So most people think, Shawn, you played about 7 years professional football. You're a business owner. I've been in business for over 20 years. And just had tons of success. And when I often meet people and have conversations, whether on a plane or train station, or just having those conversations, they'll kind of allude to the fact that, you must have had it great in your life, and nothing could be further from the truth. I was documented with, several learning disabilities. I didn't grow up poor. I grew up poor. Big difference between the two. And my mom raised all 6 of us by herself, scrubbing floors for affluent people, affluent names, and really the who's who in the Ohio region. And there was struggle after struggle, from being kicked out of school for disciplinary issues, barely starting in high school sports, told not to play football, and just hampered with being, teased and bullied and being voted most likely to fail. And what I'm sharing with you right now is just the edited version. It's just a watered down version, because I don't want to really go deep in the details, because I don't live in that space anymore, but I can talk about that space. And a lot of it came to a head when I went off to a junior college in Mason City, Iowa. And at the first year at that junior college, I'm sitting on the bench, just walking out life the way that it was prescribed to me, the way that I believe, or my expectations of where I was at. And going into the second year, I had this conversation. And the conversation was that, you know what, I can't be successful. I don't have what it takes to be successful. And I wrote down all the list of things that, this is, you won't make it. You don't have the intelligence. You don't have this. And I'm regurgitating everything that was ever spoken over me. But midway through, my pen stops and I had an epiphany. And I said, you know what? I can't be successful, but I can win. And the moment I said that, everything changed in my life. And I began to see obstacles as opportunities. And I began to look at things totally different. All action stems from thoughts. All thoughts come from your belief system. And that's where about 90% of all success or motivational or project speakers and whatever, that's where they stop at. But it's one step deeper. And that is what's called, who are you? That's your self-concept. Are you a victim or victor? Victors tend to focus on what they're going through. Two, victims tend to focus on what they're going through. And I changed that. And the moment I changed that, it changed the trajectory of my life. And I coined the term Winologist, and I see everything as an opportunity to win.
So let me ask you this. One of the first things that comes to mind is your definition. Maybe this is your definition of self, success, and winning.
Yes.
It sounds like those are different for you, but yes, in most people, success is winning. So break that down for me.
So winning to me is the fullest expression of who you are mentally, spiritually, socially, financially, obviously, and legacy is to expand in those 4 to 5 areas of your life 100%. Okay. And winning is a lifelong endeavor. From the time you're born to the time you die, you are playing this game of life to win. By the way, if you don't know it's a game, you are being played by the game, which is why so many people are dead or dead broke by the time they're 65 years of age, over 90%, depending on the government for assistance. Why? It's because they're playing the success game and not the win game. They're the long game that they're not really focusing on. They're focusing on the moment. Success is prescribed to you. Okay. Mm-hmm. I can live in Columbus, Ohio, which I do live, and I have like $3 million. I'm successful. You take $3 million to Dubai, it's not going to work. Well, that it's not static. It's always moving. So my win from here is to be the best that I can be, where I'm at, what I'm doing, give it 100%, push it to the 212 and let the chips fall where they may. And I'm not going to allow the world to dictate what I am and what I'm not by what they call success.
So if you were talking to some young kids today that have been told that they don't have what it takes, and that's usually the phrase, you don't have what it takes, what would your best piece of advice be to them, especially since you were saddled with so many disabilities?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would say, says who? You got to understand. Okay, who are you to tell me what I can and
Say
can't?
it again.
Says who? Who are you to tell me what I can and can't do? You don't have the power of that. You don't know what's in me. See, my potential is like a seed. You can often count the number of seeds in an orange, but you can never count the number of oranges in the seed. You have no idea what's in me. Okay. So that's first and foremost, that you have to qualify who's telling you what you can and can't do. And number two is you take that, okay, and you allow them to write you off, and then you come back and you break their pencils and you run for it.
So their mindset should be, you have no idea what's inside of me, but I want you to back it up. And how do you take young athletes, young adults, just graduated, even older people that have been struggling to recognize what's in them? I think that's where we get lost, is people don't know what's in them. They don't know where to find that. They don't know how to describe that. They don't know how to extract that in a way that allows for them to then have that self-confidence to express that physically and emotionally.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one way. In my book, The Winning Edge, I talk about the law of 212. And basically what that is that water is water at 211 degrees. And at 212 degrees, water boils. And boiling water has changed the world. Always try to operate in the 212. Now, fortunately / unfortunately, 95% of the people, you can't walk in the 212 on your own. You always have to have other people around you to bring it out of you. You always have to have coaches. So the most high level winners I know, the number one speaker in the world, I ain't gonna mention his name, he has a coach. You always need to have coaches to bring or to actually push you to the 212. You have to have competitors to make you want to go to the 212, live in the 212. And the way that you get there, to bring it back to your question, is that young people, you need coaches and you need mentors. And a good mentor is a tormentor. You need that.
Give me more. Tell me more about that.
Associates.
The
I'm
best
sorry.
coaches are a tormentor. Let me go
Yes.
find my tormentor. I thought I
Yes.
was the tormentor.
Yes.
Talk to me about
You
that.
need
Who
that.
is that person? Where do I find them?
Oh, well, I'll give you one story because it's really interesting to find them. You have to have the right eye. And what I mean by the right eye is that you have to have the eye to look past offense and to look past of being comfortable. People around you, they're not always meant to create a comfortable environment for you. And if you're not careful, leaders, your comfort zone will become your casket. Your job is to always be uncomfortable, fight to be uncomfortable. And that oftentimes means having people around you that make you uncomfortable towards growth, push you to. There was a man that was working with me in real estate, and I knew there wasn't a doubt in my mind this man was not a racist. I knew he was a racist, a straight up racist. I'm like, okay, I gotta look past that. Because I need for that to make me uncomfortable, and I need to extract the knowledge that he has to win and to go to the next level. And sometimes it's smooth, and sometimes it's sandpaper. Sandpaper makes you smooth, baby. You got to have that. So when you get an NFL coach, he ain't your friend. He is tearing you apart. You ever see a coach on a field and after you win a game, he's like, good job. Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And then he'll say, but next time get your hand up. And next time you got to do this. And he's always coaching you to the next level. You have to have that in your life. Stop being stop being a baby. Let's go.
Listen, this is not where I thought we were taking this conversation, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it there. It feels like those are the parents we once used to have, and those aren't the parents that are parenting these days.
No, it's not, because parents are not parents. Parents want to be friends.
What is that about?
I don't know, but my job as a man, okay, my job as a parent, I'll say parent, but my job as a parent is to always have a mental vision of my son, who's in this room right now, by the way, of my son being 25, 26, 30 years of age. That's my mental picture. My decisions and how I deal with him and encourage him and critique him is off of the fact that he's 35 and he's on his own and I'm not here. That's my job, to say, hey, my kid is my friend, ultimately is a very low level but consistent form of selfishness and narcissism.
Talk to me about that. Say more.
Because you don't want to be the bad guy. You don't want to be the one to disappoint, because it's not so much about how they feel, it's how they make you feel. There's sometimes when I was raising my son that I had to walk out the room and almost cry. I'm like, daggone it. I mean, I felt bad to see my son, but you know what? If I don't check him now, the police is going to check him later.
So what I like about this moment is for parents, coaches, all the individuals that have authority and leadership opportunity to recognize that our job is to create discomfort, because discomfort creates growth. We have to continue, even in our communities, we have a problem with not wanting to address issues that might be prevalent and causing irreparable damage, but we don't want to make the other people in the room uncomfortable. Hence, we wind up being stagnant and never fixing the problems that have been presented to us. The work that you do is created to solve these problems. So how did you wind up leaving the NFL and getting into this line of work?
So I retired. You know, the average lifespan in the NFL is under 3 years, and you know it was time for me to move on. And I retired, and I opened up a security firm, and I've been the CEO for about 20 years now. And I still love to motivate and encourage and coach. And as I was speaking with the NFL, off season, I would do speaking. I was thinking, okay, I'm done playing. So the phone would probably stop ringing, and the phone kept ringing, and I kept answering the call. And it was just a nice little segue from one playing field to another playing field.
Now, were you always a coachable kid?
No, no.
Talk to me about that, and how did you make that transition? Because you can't coach
Right.
unless you know how to be coached.
No, I was not coachable. I had a little radical streak in me. But I'm not going to Dr. Phil
Was that
myself.
that chip on your shoulder?
You
That
know
chip on
what?
your shoulder?
It could have been. It could have been, but there was a root of anger there. No,
Mm.
I was not coachable. And guess what? I suffered. I missed looking back, hindsight's 2020. I missed a ton of opportunities. I missed a ton of opportunities when I look back on that. Yeah, I was not coachable, but now I realize that it's really hard. And I hate to use the word success, but it's really hard to have success without a successor. It's passed down. It is given unto you. Everything I'm doing now, someone has done before. It will behoove you to find that, to get a little head start on those ditches in life.
What has been the most difficult part of running your business?
The most
Challenge.
one of the challenges of playing professional sports all your life is that people think a certain way. People think a certain way. They're very upfront in your face. So, there's no need to network. Everyone's trying to network with you. You're the star football player. You don't have to go out to a networking meeting and talk and schmooze and talk to people. What is that? And your actual expression is your performance on the field. How you grind on the field is how your wins and success is measured. Life off the field is a different game, and the game is centered around people and understanding people, understanding temperaments, knowing how to navigate temperaments and personalities, and to bring the best out of people was different, and it was extremely difficult until I was able to learn how to understand people, understand problems, and understand paradigms.
We're in a moment right now where it seems like there's just one problem after another, and it's easy for people to get overwhelmed with all the issues socially, personally, professionally. How do you talk people through that? What is your suggestion for folks that can't navigate the complexities of this moment in time?
Turn problems into possibilities. When I look at the landscape, my mindset is I'm not getting caught up in your game. I'm not going to get caught up in your political game as much. My mindset is, how do I win? Because I still have to play the game. I still have to play. I still have to be in business. I still have to gain contracts. I still have to, I still have to navigate this game. How do I win this game? No matter who's in office, no matter what's going on out there, my mind is already thinking 6 to 8 months from now. I have to navigate this. And how do I prosper in a paradigm? We don't just have problems, we have paradigm shifts that are happening. COVID, the C word, that was a paradigm shift. 9/11, it was a paradigm shift. Cryptocurrency is a paradigm shift. AI is a paradigm shift. Web3 is a paradigm shift. You have to study those and make sure that your organization's on the right side of that paradigm shift. I own a security company. I have a lot of security officers. And about 2 years ago, they was joking on the Washington Post or some newsletter about a robot security guard that fell in the fountain, and everyone was joking. I wasn't joking. I'm like, wait a second. If you take a robot with AI and Web3, I'm out of business in about 10 years. How I need to navigate that right now. So my mindset is, I got to win. How do I win?
Okay, let's do this in real time. So, a new stat has come out about the layoffs that are happening in the entertainment industry. In the reality TV sector, okay,
Okay.
how would you advise companies that had a large staff of those that worked in reality TV to move forward? Show me how you help people solve problems in their business and clearly in their mind, emotionally, because now they're like, oh, I thought I'd be able to do this forever. No, nothing lasts forever. How do you adjust? Because I think people have a hard time with change. How do you move through some of the more difficult changes, paradigm changes? Because for the entertainment industry, losing reality TV is a big deal right now, just as big of a deal as it was when it became big. So now it's dying out. How do you advise or guide them through this moment?
So one of the things that I would do is say, okay, if chat, I mean, if reality TV is dying, it's still good because it's not dead. That means I might have a slow pulse, but I have to move. I have to adjust. And now I got to see what is moving, and I have to tool up for it. Plain and simple, whether in the industry or out of the industry. I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, I'm in the acting or, whatever industry when, they can use AI to replace me and my voice next week. It's like, you know what? I may have to find something else to hedge or to leverage what I do. And so I'm actually pivoting now. I'm going to pivot now. Chat GPT. All right. I'm a master of that. Okay. I'm going to learn how to do the prompts to actually tell chat what to do. I'm going to expand right now and find out what's hot, where's going, and I'm moving in those areas right now. Not next month, not next year. My son has a degree practically in computer science. Dead. Okay. So guess what? It's a dying field because AI is going to take over. All right. So let's tool up for that right now. What about blockchain? Let's learn it. And don't be afraid to do it. There's nothing worse than standing on the Titanic when you know it's sinking.
I mean, come on.
Get off that boat now.
Listen, fear drives elections, fear drives depression, fear drives fight. How do you fight through fear? Like, you're talking to people right now that are scared to make decisions and have conversations that could change their life. Talk to them.
Have somebody. I am talking to you as a coach and as a mentor who had to deal with change. You see, you are expecting to make the change when you're on the Titanic. You can't make that change. That's why you need people in your life that's going to tell you what to do. And you have to have faith to jump off the ship and do it, because it's really hard, because fear creates paralysis. You're only good at what you know, or you're comfortable with what you know. What is your mentor saying? What is your coaches are saying? That's when you throw your anchor out to them. That's when you throw your lifeline out to them, because they're not feeling your pressure. They're not feeling your pain. And say, okay, who has made that transition? Who has done this? I need to maybe jump into this field and follow that person. Everything has to change in your game. Everything has to change in your life. Your mentors may have to change. Your coaches may have to change, because you got to retool. And if you don't retool, you're in trouble.
You said something about coaches and mentors that I think is important. Everyone needs one. But I think, back to fear, one of the reasons people don't reach out for coaches and mentors is they're, one, afraid of the rejection, and two, afraid of the transparency that they need to show in order to have the change made that they need. They're scared to talk about what they're scared of. They're scared to talk about what they don't know how to do. Um, Fear of being judged, obviously. And what is your best advice to them? Because I've talked to people that don't have coaches and mentors, and they don't really have good answers. But I'm deducing that it's a lot of fear and fear of transparency and judgment.
So I'm gonna wasu down on this one. Okay.
Oh yeah, you felt that. I felt that. I felt
Yes,
that.
yes. I'm gonna cool down on this one. And I'm gonna put the blame on our educational system.
Whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Our educational system, the way it works is basically they teach you the same 5 subjects 12 years in a row. And they equip you and they tool you to be a good worker. And they socialize you not to receive inspiration or leadership outside of where you're going. So when you graduate from high school, you go to a job that has the same structure, the same hours of school, the same hour as your job. You sit in a row in the seats, you have recess, you have breaks, and now you are subconsciously, geared to receive from your supervisor or your boss or your teacher. They're not interested in pushing you outside of the paradigm. So you have to make a conscious decision to say, hey, I got to expand my comfort zone because what I want is deeper and it's more painful of the pressure of what I want. It's greater than what I have. And you have to make that decision. Being comfortable is so dangerous. Turning a blind eye can be so dangerous. What you want has to be greater than what you have, and you have to jump out and you have to make that fearful step right now. This is real. This is real world. I have a brand new accountability partner. I'm meeting with him Tuesday at Starbucks, brand new. And he's going to ask the hard questions. I know he is. And I need it. Why? Because what got me here can't get me here. And I'm going to and I'm gonna have to lay some stuff out. I got to be naked before him, but I know that's what I need to get to the next level.
I can appreciate that. You have your books with you?
Yeah, I have one of them here with me right now. It's called The Winning Edge, and basically it is 8 principles that will bring out the winner in you. And what it is that I try to live my life on laws and not rules. I break rules. I never break laws. And my mom raised me, she raised me to live off of spiritual law. And I bring these laws out. And the other one is the Winologist. And it goes into even deeper through the struggle to the triumph of how to win and how to take your tests and turn them into testimonies.
Do you have a passage that you could read for us?
Wow. Well, let's see here. Okay, so, man, I know you talked. Okay, perfect. One of the examples that I use with adversity is the story of a famous Olympian. He was a sharpshooter, and he had lost the use of his shooting right arm in a farming accident. He went through a ton of adversity and experienced a lot of pain and rejection because basically his performance was his identity. One day he just got up and walked out the room, goes to the field, and he starts practicing using his other arm. 4 years later, he goes back to the Olympics and he wins the gold using his left arm. That's what you call overcoming adversity.
I like that. Overcoming adversity. There's a lot of adversity to be overcome. Where can we get copies of these tools to help us become winners like you?
Amazon. Also, my website is ShawnHarperWins.com. All the information is on there. If you don't have the actual funds, you can go to ShawnHarperWins.com. You leave me a message, and I will send you a free electronic version. Uh, I believe that it doesn't come to you if it can't get through you. And
I
Mama
heard
taught
that.
me how to be the biggest giver in the world because it was given to me.
Before I let you out of here, give me 3 words that you would never want affiliated with you.
Wow. Loser, obviously.
How did I
Uh,
know?
Number one would be loser. Number two would be failure. And number three would be cheater.
Hmm. Cheater. Tell me more.
Uh, I was I was asked a question by somebody very close to me, and he asked, "Have I ever cheated in certain areas of my life, finances, or just not having keeping your word? Have you ever cheated like that?" And I told him, I said, "No." He said, "Don't ever start." He said that when it comes down to it, your name is everything, and how he had explained how he had been in rooms, back rooms, where multi-million-dollar deals were on the table, and a person chirped up and said, "No, you can't trust this person. No, and that person would he several times lost the bid, and they will never know why. The decision was made. Why? Because of their character. They cheated on their word or whatever. So no.
Wow. It sounds, listening to you, it definitely sounds like your mom had an incredibly huge impact on your life. Can you tell us about her?
Edith uh, Edith Harper, that she just recently passed about a couple years back, was an extraordinary woman. She always she did a very good job by casting vision, in economic challenged situations and neighborhoods, and she was very good at being my number one fan. And if I could speak to that, parents, is that you have moms, fathers, you have the authority. I don't care what the kid says. I don't care, how lost they seem to be. You have the authority to speak into their soul. You have the authority to call the king or the queen out of the kid, and you speak to that. And it doesn't matter if they can reject it and be angry. You will bypass all that because they're from you, and you can speak right into there, and you can change their life when the time is right and the pressure hits and it's hot enough. They will revert back to who the word spoken by mama or daddy.
I call that your moral compass. That was my grandfather.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That. And in everything you say, she is that for you. I can
Yes.
absolutely tell.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing and being naked and showing some transparency for our people. Thank you for allowing us to hear more about your story and for giving us some tools to help us be winners, Mr. Winologist. Please let me know if you wind up coming out to California or if you're going to have anything that we can invite the people out to support you. But I definitely will have all of the information that you've provided in the captions. So, guys, go out, get the book. If people need to hear you in person, how do they find out where you're speaking next or to get you to come to them?
So I normally don't put my travel information on my website, but I think that's going to change now because I just heard a challenge from you. People need to understand and know where you are. So I'm gonna have to take a hard look at that next week to say, you know what, put your schedule up there because people need to see. Now, whether or not the venue will let them in is a different story. But
Hey, you just let the people know you out there doing the good work. And that's what
yeah,
we need. More of you out there doing the good work for the rest of us.
all day.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. When you get a sec, take a moment, leave a comment. What you think about today's episode, and share it with someone that you know could use the gems that were dropped today. Follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss who's coming up next. You never know who could show up here and what they could say. For your professional needs, marketing, PR, communications, and leadership, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sand and Shores, or hit us up at sandandshores.com. Again, thanks so much for showing up. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.